Feel like I've talked about this subject before, and maybe I have in a small way when talking about other related Bön tradition subjects. But the subject here is a teacher who's also been somewhat deified, named Tsewang Rigdzin. Tsewang Rigdzin is the son of Drempa Namkha. Drempa Namkha was a famous Bön teacher that lived at the time of Tsewang Rigdzin and a little bit before. Now, Drempa Namkha is also somewhat deified, but we're looking specifically at Tsewang Rigdzin. Tsewang Rigdzin appears in art generally as a human-type figure with one face, two arms, often embracing a consort. Consort is named Oden Barma, kind of a blazing, having or with blazing light. And now he can hold different things, but one of the interesting things about this Tsewang Rigdzin, which we find in sculpture and painting, is that his father had two children. And sometimes the story says that there was one wife, one mother for both children, and at other times it's like two different women. One was Tibetan and one was Indian. And so Tsewang Rigdzin was blessed with long life. And the other one, his brother, I think his brother was really named Pema Tongdrol. And he was blessed with sort of magical attainments. And then he later became known as Yungdrung Tongdrol. And according to Bön history, then this Pema Tongdrol, who became Yungdrung Tongdrol, is actually none other than Padmasambhava. And there was a separation between Drempa Namkha and his Indian wife. And the Indian wife, when this Yungdrung Tongdrol was quite young, she went back to India with him. And then as he grew up, then he became Padmasambhava, and then came back to Tibet. At the time that Shanti Rakshita was building the Samye monastery. Anyway, it's very interesting. We have art, we have paintings, we have these narrative stories, we have a biography of Tsewang Rigdzin and how he traveled to the 6 famous mountains of Tibet. On the far west side, of course, we have Mount Kailash. And on the very far east side, in Sichuan province, we have Umeshan, which is famous. The Buddhists made it famous for Samantabhadra. But before it was famous as a mountain for Samantabhadra, it was actually a mountain of the Bön, of the 6 holy mountains, sacred mountains of the Bön. So, now, where really do all these stories come from? Well, we have to look to the 14th century, and a fellow called a Tertön, a treasure revealer named Tertön Bunshik Yungdrung Lingpa. And really, we have to identify him with Tertön Dorje Lingpa, the famous Buddhist Dorje Lingpa, the originator of the Dorje Kutrap, if some people are familiar with that practice. And he discovered a lot of Buddhist revealed treasure, and he discovered a lot of Bön as well. And this whole narrative and the iconography of Tsewang Rigdzin is coming out of a specific large Terma text called the Bön Boyulma. And we have all these different narratives, we have different iconographic forms. So it's really quite interesting, this crossover between Buddhist iconography and Bön iconography and Buddhist teacher life story narratives and mythology and Bön life stories and narrative mythology. So it's quite an interesting study because the subject just touches on so many different aspects. Also, this Bön story of Padmasambhava and related to Dorje Lingpa and related to Drempa Namkha is also included by Jamgon Kongtrol in the Rinchen Terzu. And so we're getting modern day 19th century acceptance of some of this kind of obscure material into mainstream Nyingma Buddhism. So we'll leave it at that. You can press like, you can subscribe, you can join Har on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.